So thank you guys for coming for this in-service. I'm going to talk about Give for Good, which is the Community Foundation's annual 24-hour online giving day. And what we really want to share with you is how you as volunteers can really be very impactful on this day of giving. So like I said, it is a 24-hour day of giving, and it is hosted by the Community Foundation. It started in 2014. And since then, they've raised a ton of money every year. And last year, over 500 nonprofits participated, and they raised $7.7 million. So it's just a great day to really focus on philanthropy and focus on giving. And we've been participating since the Community Foundation started this in 2014. Last year, we were able to raise over $35,000, which includes matching fund donations. It includes all online donations. And if you are a Community Foundation fund holder, it also includes those folks who designated a certain amount before the day of so that it could be counted towards that day. So why do you think we participate in this? They don't do matching funds like they did in the first year, but what they do is they get sponsors and they create these prize pools. So the first pool is a bonus of $150,000. So what does that mean? If we have 30 unique donations, all the nonprofits who reach that 30 threshold, they'll split the 50,000. Tier 2 is if you get more than 60, if you get more than 90 donations, then you split that pot of 50,000. So there's a little bit of a bonus for those who try to get as many unique donations. And a unique donation is a unique donor giving once. So if I gave more than once that day, that's not a unique donation because I already gave that day. So it's really the number of people who give that day. The other prizes include strategic prizes. So these are all $1,000 each. And this is where they make it sort of a game where, for example, they'll have early birds. So giving day starts exactly at midnight, the night of Friday, September 17th, and it goes until 11:59 p.m. of that Friday. So whoever is up at 12 midnight or at 11:59, they can actually start setting up that first donation. So that first donation, if it's a minimum of $500 and you hit donate at exactly at midnight, they will give CASA another $1,000. So that's sort of how they're doing these strategic prizes. So I put a list of what their different categories are. They have one that's up all night, the most unique donations from 2 to 4 a.m. Morning rush is between 5 to 8 a.m. Mid-morning, they're doing some random drawings. And then by the afternoon and evening, they're also doing those, donations, between a certain time. So we'll make sure to post these. And if you follow us on social media, we usually give an announcement like, hey, don't forget, feel free to donate at this time or that time. So we try to remind people because there are a lot of different strategic prizes. So some of the other things in here is a far and wide. So they talk about, if you can get a donation from all 50 states or the first, organization that has the most states that they can get to give. That's also another different way that they've tried to give out a prize. But there's also this thing called matching minutes. We suggest donating at these specific times, and because they'll double your donation. And so if you give $1,000, somebody hopefully will give $1,000. So it's only a $10,000 pool for each of these times. So it's basically, they're just going to run on like whoever makes the donation, what time first. So it's a first come, first serve thing up to $10,000. Then they do grand prizes. So, whatever organization has the most unique donations, there's a first, second, and third place, and you're categorized by the size of your organization. So they don't expect small nonprofits to compete with medium to large size nonprofits. So they really split that up. And that's all based on the 990 tax returns for organizations. So I think the most important thing here is how can you help during the Give for Good? There's 3 different ways. The first way is to really share the information about Give for Good. So that's whether you tell a friend, word of mouth, you talk about it with your coworkers, your faith, your community, your colleagues. You can also email people. We'll send you different, templates to showcase what you could say and share your own story. We also have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On that day, we post pretty often because, again, there's different prizes and there's different strategic prizes. So feel free to log on to any of your social media and share that. And if you don't have social media, that's okay. You could send it by email. You could talk about it with people word of mouth. They can type in Give for Good on their computer or on their phone, and they could easily find it for that day. The second way you can help is to give on that day. So we have different ways you can give. So if you wanted to give 1,000 or more that day, we could definitely make that a matching fund. So what does that mean? That means we let people know that you are willing to give as much as $1,000 if they also match that amount. So it really doubles the impact of your dollar when you make it into a matching fund. You just have to let us know that's what you plan to do so that we can let donors that day know that they have matching funds that they can also double their impact with. On that day, we hope that you donate online, and you could choose to donate any time of day or whether it's during those matching minutes. You know, on Give for Good's website, they do have a place where you can search for organizations. Like I said, over 500 organizations, nonprofits, schools are there. So you could look us up, CASA of the River Region, and you could easily go to our page, or you could just bookmark that page now so that you could easily get to it in the future. The other way you can help is if your company matches. Now, if your company does match, you just have to let them know ahead of time and let us know ahead of time as well. So that way we can be aware that when that match comes in, that we could definitely let them know and thank them for your contribution. The third way, which is what really the bulk of this talk is today, is to create your own personal fundraising page. And that's called peer-to-peer fundraising. And we'll get a little bit more into it, but basically you can create your own page instead of having donors or your friends or your network or your colleagues go to a generic site on the Give for Good page. And that way they could see your story, your experience, and why you're so passionate about CASA. So like I said, one of the ways is to share. So we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and you can find us by just searching CASA River Region, all one word, and we'll pop up. To stay informed with our social media sites, please click follow or like our page, and that way it'll show up on your feed, depending on what social media site you go to. And the third way you could help is to share our posts. And so one of the things that we really try to do is have a lot of organic reach, meaning non-paid reach. So that way, you know, if you share it, then maybe your friends see it and they share it. And another thing is if you comment when you share it. So for example, you know, I shared a post today about Judge Derwin Webb's article on our blog. And I made sure before posting it that I added a little description like, hey guys, read the blog. If you want to volunteer, you know, sign up. Second thing we talked about giving, again, it's matching funds. It doubles the impact of your own donation. If you are a Community Foundation Louisville fund holder, you have to let your account holder or account person know at CFL that you wanted to designate funds to CASA. So I believe there's a deadline of 2 weeks before the actual giving day. So you want to let them know ahead of time. I don't think they allow anybody who's a fund holder to say on the day of. So there's definitely keep an eye out for your emails. They email their fund holders regularly about the deadlines. And lastly is to give. So just log in on our website. I've added the website here. It's giveforgoodlouisville.org/organizations/CASA-Inc. You could bookmark that so you don't lose it, but we're also sharing that link on every piece of marketing material that we're sending out. So you'll definitely be able to see that. And also when you go for the Give for Good page, if you can't remember the website, you just type in the search CASA of the River Region, and we should be pulled up. That's actually this picture is our landing page on the Give for Good site. Fundraising page. So what it is it's really your own personal page. It's sort of like the run pages for the Leukemia Lymphoma Society or the American Heart Association. You know, they each give any participant their own page to customize. And so it's the same here. Give for Good Louisville has contracted with a platform called GiveGab that hosts these individual pages. And so how you get started is you'd email me, and there's my email, amabel@casarr.org, and you ask me to add you to our fundraisers. And so I'll put your email down and you'll get an email from GiveGab to set up your account. So when you set up your account and you log in, this is what you'll see. You'll see that this is the fundraising dashboard for Casa of the River region. And there's different things that you could do. You could tell your story, make a donation, reach out, share socially. So they take you very step by step, and it's very visual, it's very intuitive, and their customer service is really, really great. So, for example, when you log into your page and you click on tell your story, there's an opportunity for you to even upload an image of yourself or, whatever you feel compelled to upload. You could set your monetary goal for the day. If you have a video you want to share, you could add your phone number, but it won't be shown publicly. And then at the bottom, you could see this whole tell your story. And so you could change the formatting, you could write a narrative, you could share quotes from, your CASA kids that you've worked with. You could even share like what a case has meant to you. Obviously, no identifying information, nothing too specific, but basically just sort of sharing why you got involved. A lot of the times, people will donate more to your personal page because they trust you and they trust that your story is authentic and that because of your passion, they become passionate about it. And at the very bottom, I have this website at the bottom, giveforgoodlouisville.org/info/fundraiser-guide. So it's going to be on the web on a couple more pages. And it's a good resource on step-by-step guidelines once you start hosting your own page. So the other tab is to reach out. So once you've created this page, what happens, right? So what are you going to do? So one thing that this platform does is they give you this option to send an email out within their platform to your contacts so that they can immediately see your page. Or you could share this socially. If you do have Facebook, Twitter, they give you a special link to share. So you could just copy that link and you could put it on your own social media page, and a preview of your page will show up. And you could write a description and just say something like, hey guys, I created my fundraising page for Casa of the River region. Check it out. And don't forget to log in on the 17th. So all of the, we will be also providing social media templates, things that you can say and post and customize. So, you're not just left sitting there kind of like, what do I say about this? But it also just gives you an easy way to share things too socially. At the very bottom, after the day of giving, they give you an option to give thanks. So there's that last button at the bottom. And when you have donors and you click on that, you can immediately send them thank you notes from there without having to look up, oh no, who donated, and let me copy their email, let me, text them. So you can actually send your own personal thank you to them just through the platform itself. So like I said, what's the advantage of creating your own fundraising page? So one, people are much more likely to donate and look at your own page because they know you, they trust you. So you're not just this random stranger sending them an email about going to a website to give. Like, they're your friend, they're your colleague, they're your, faith community member. So they really look to you and trust you, and that's why they would give. Secondly, it's just a way for us to expand the network of people that get to know CASA. So, one of the major ways we get more volunteers is through word of mouth. After all the advertising, after, all the print and social media, really word of mouth is still the #1 way we reach volunteers. So if you could share it with your network and their network shares it with their network, we get a whole lot of new people who learn about us, and ultimately, hopefully, they'll reach out and want to volunteer. Lastly, having your own personal page allows you to be creative, right? Like you could see that you could upload a video, you could upload a photo, you can write a narrative of your own experience and why you decided to volunteer with CASA. So it's just a great way to personalize something that means so much to you because you've dedicated this time and energy to the children that we serve. So what are the next steps from this point? So first, if you're interested, send me an email. It's amabel@casarr.org. Second, mark your calendar. Friday, September 17th is the 24-hour online giving day. I also added the website to our page directly, so you can go ahead and bookmark that. You can log in, bookmark it by clicking the little star on your address bar, and it should be able to bookmark it for you, or you could just write it down and save it. And you can follow us on social media. Like I said, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You could search for us by just typing in Casa River Region as one word, and we will pull ourselves up. So I also wanted to showcase Leah Nord. She's our community engagement manager. So in case you wanted to reach out about other opportunities in the community, such as, our outreach committee, our diversity, equity, and inclusion committee, or you want to participate in events like Help Table at community events, whenever those come back into the world, she's going to be your contact person. You might also hear from her if you are connected to a company or a faith community that would be interested in having CASA speak or, participate in any events.
Amabel, how do you pay? Like through PayPal or a credit card or?
So GiveGab processes all the donations for us.
Okay.
You say GiveGab processes it all. Does that give us a menu of choices to utilize? For instance, like I use gift cards a lot when I use online. So will it have something in there that will tell me what methods?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, it's sort of, they've made it really intuitive. So when you go to our donor page, it's not live right now. There's no way to pay. But when you go to our donor page and you click how much you want to donate, it immediately takes you to a billing page where you just type in your credit card, your billing info, and you hit send. So everything is processed right there. It doesn't take you to a different website. You don't have to log into anything. It's really, really intuitive.
Okay. I'm really not familiar with this system. When you said prizes, the prizes are relative to the organization. So I guess part of it is the language that was used early on. Is like when you said unique, what did you call it? Unique?
It's unique donations. So that means that they count the number of individual people who gave and not the number of donations, because one person can donate more than once. So when I say unique donations, it's just a number of individuals who gave. So not the number of total donations, because again, I could give more than once, which I usually do on that day because I try to spread out the donations during matching minutes.
Right. I mean, I guess because you're so familiar with it, I guess what I would think of is, not being tech savvy, as you well know, if I were to tell my family, hey, let me ask you this question. If I said to my family, is there a phone number if they didn't want to log on, right?
Right.
And they would, that kind of thing. And I said, hey, between 2 and 4, like, and they know how NPR does it, right? And
right.
NPR is like, oh, we've got a challenge, or we've got if you call between such and such, and you call us and you give us, and they do it on the phone, right? Mm-hmm. So for people that I know, they're going to say, well, how do I do that? If I give them something on the computer, they may not be enthusiastic enough to do it.
Right. So it is an online giving day. So we really, they only count donations that are given online. Now, if you have family or friends, I have family and friends who are hesitant about doing it online. So I do it for them. So I have, my dad tells me how much he wants to give, and I type everything in for him. So that way he doesn't have to worry about logging in and doing all that kind of stuff. But if you want it to get counted towards CASA and towards the day of giving and any of those strategic prizes, it does have to be given online. So again, if you have family and friends who are hesitant, you should ask them beforehand. So that way on the day of, you can easily, call them up and say, oh, today's the day, give me, they just ask for first name, last name, billing info, and credit card, and how much you want them to donate. And you could plug it all in for them.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, is there a strategy that you said you just spread it out? So that you can hit every category? Is that what you're trying to do?
That's sometimes, because again, for those matching minutes. So for example, if I at 8:45 in the morning, I'll give $10 and immediately at 8:45. And so hopefully I'm one of the first, so that way that $10 becomes 20. So if you already have family and friends that are going to want you to do it for them, then you can definitely say, oh, I'm going to do it at 8:45, 5:45, 2:45.
Okay.
Whenever those matching minutes are. So it might be a lot more legwork for you and more planning. So that way, you know exactly what time and when you'll be giving those donations. You could even split up their donations if they want to give 50 for the whole thing, and you're like, okay, I'm going to do 2 charges of 25. So that's really just depends on your strategy and what you want to do. But we try to make it pretty simple for people and just say, feel free to give online anytime that day.
Yeah.
Bill, suppose I want to just on my Facebook, I want to post about this and have a link to where they would go to donate. Now that link won't be active except for the 24-hour day of giving.
That's correct. So you could tell them, you could share it beforehand and just say, this is my page. Just don't forget, bookmark it or make sure to come back to my page on the 17th. So that way they can, they'll be able to see it. They'll be able to familiarize yourself with your page. And then they'll be able to remember, oh yeah, the 17th is when this goes live.
Well, I'm not sure I'm ready to do a page. I'm thinking more of just posting this on my Facebook.
Yes.
Given that, I would assume we don't want to do it tomorrow because people will forget or it will get lost in their feed. So one day before typically, or maybe 2.
I would definitely give people a heads up, maybe a week beforehand, just to tease them and say, hey guys, Give for Good Louisville is coming up. And if you go to CASA's Facebook page, you can feel free to share. We'll be announcing things as it gets closer. So you can even just share that and put a little note on your own post about it. And then on the day of, you could definitely just share what we share, or you could, send it out to your network, a personal message with the link to our website. So I would definitely start maybe at least a week beforehand just to tease people. Again, we'll have it on our own Facebook page that you can easily share.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks. They try to make it relatively easy. Again, it starts the midnight. So Thursday night, if you stay up past 11, you can wait till midnight to do that first donation. I know in previous years when this started, Will was a real trooper and waited to give his donation exactly at midnight, which has been great because he's been able to win an extra $1,000 for CASA because of that. So if you are...
Your question there, because that's the other question I have. So if we're the only group doing what Will did at midnight, because I'm always awake between 2 and 4 a.m. I'm not kidding. So if you remember how you had it divided, the thingy, the thought. Okay, so if we're the only group getting donations in the middle of the night, then does the prize become more? Help me. What's the word? More valuable to us?
Yeah, but just remember, there's 500 nonprofits that's doing this too, and they're probably getting their donors set up. So the more chances that we have, that's great. So if you want to give a donation at 11:59, wait at midnight, the most unique donations between 2 to 4 a.m. So that means we have maybe I can get my West Coast folks to log in at that time because that's way too late for me.
I'm up. I'm awake.
To people. So please share with your volunteers if they were unable to join. We really, we had 215 volunteers last year. And if we can get at least like maybe 10 to 20 people, I think they said that the average peer-to-peer fundraising raises about $500 with just 7 to 10 donors. So, anything at this point would be great. And especially we have matching funds. Texas Roadhouse has put up $5,000 of matching funds. So, we could double that if we can just get more people to donate up to that. If you have any other questions, my email is right there, amabel@casarr.org. If you need more step-by-step, talking through the fundraising page, just let me know. I will either help set it up, or if you want to set it up yourself, that's great too.